Peace to the east, the west, north, and south. Welcome. This is Flipper coming to you today for another topic of discussion. Welcome to the circus. So, as you know, big up to everyone joining in. Get some popcorn. You know, what are those Cracker Jacks? Get your snacks on because it is a clownery out in the Matrix. Matrix. SmokeScreen 101 is what you're perceiving out right now when you're looking on social media and a lot of these news networks. They are literally creating a unhealthy environment to allow for them to hide and to make you look in one direction. Meanwhile, while they're doing their ish in the other direction. This is what they are noted to do very well. And if you don't know, that next month is a very pinnacle month, and this is eclipse season, which also adds an element of mystique and occultism to this diabolical circus that you're actually observing out here. So let's get into the topic of discussion. So we have multiple. Let's burn that Palo Santo, because you know this is not something they want to get into. So we're gonna put some smoke and we're gonna put some mirrors on them. I'm coughing already. Santo Paulo in the house. Burn some Santo Paulo. Keep the energies clear and clean. Get your wands out, not those kind of wands, you know, the selenite wands. Okay. Happy birthday. Whose birthday is it? Is it someone else's celestial solar return? More. Let me give a proper shout out. Big up to, first of all, a shout out to all the Leos. Big up and happy birthday to all you amazing Leos in the house. You masterful lions. You amazing fire signs. As a fellow fire sign, I can only show you the utmost respect and the total. Oh, today? Daniel's your birthday today. Wow, we got all you lying. Look at you, Leos. Leos, we need you right now because there's a circus going on right now. We need your strength and we need your fortitude and we need your shine. So big up to all the Leos in the house. Rawr. You beautiful fire signs, you celestial lions. So anyway, so we're gonna get into conversation with the diabolical status of the matrix right now. Matrix versus matrix, because really they're fighting themselves. For those of us who are outside of the perimeters of their reach, they are basically just trying to evade the public's eye to the diabolical, futuristic events they're trying to set up. So let's start with the East Coast. As you know, in the East Coast, we had a multitude of outages within the last 3 or 4 weeks. Now it was the Hamptons who had, it was over 40,000 people out of electricity again. The grid went down, was compromised in the Hamptons. Obviously, you knew in Brooklyn and Staten Island also had blackouts. All of the East Coast is being compromised. The grid is being compromised. We discussed this on a past show, discussing the fact, oh yes, thank you. Thank you, TV. Please put a like when you come in the house so that YouTube knows that you are okay with this content, because they don't want me discussing this information. So when you come in the house, please put a like so we can continue to have these conversations, because they'll be like, oh, they're not into your channel. Bloop. Off with your head. So thank you, I appreciate it. So anyway, so on the East Coast, we've had a multitude of power outages, compromising of the grid. Also, this was on the heels of a huge Russian military ship landing in Cuba. And as we noted, there were a numerous amounts of marine life showing up and beaching on the East Coast, South Carolina, North Carolina, in Georgia, in Staten Island, we had beachings, also sharks coming up closer to the shore, leading us to know, notice I didn't say believe, because believe is be lie, okay? I said to know that there is some sonic weaponry that is causing for this marine life to be agitated to the point where they're basically beaching themselves to get out of the waterways and to evade the sonic weaponry that is being utilized underneath the ground, underneath the waterways, that is also compromising the grids. Yes, so the grids are being compromised, and this is what, again, this is my opinion. The grids are being compromised by those who are seemingly are enemies and testing the healthy or non so healthy homeostasis of the United Snakes. And they're attempting to do some silent weaponry that there isn't anyone telling you about. There's no one coming out saying that there are these attacks coming from outsiders that are in our close perimeters. Cuba is right. Remember, Key West is there. Cuba's right is only a couple miles down. 50 miles? From Cuba's 50 miles from Key West, which is the tip of Florida. So if you don't know now, you know now. That's too close for comfort for another country that the United States has been, basically agitating and provoking. So they let us know, well, not us know, they let the Matrix know that they're too legit to quit. They're close enough to hit them at any time. And as we see the grids going down, and it's BS that they're being compromised by heat. We've had hot summers before. Now, let's add another component to this, that there is allegedly, notice I use the word allegedly, for the happy matrix in the house. Allegedly, there is also because of the multitude of earthquakes that are happening daily, sometimes 50 to 60 earthquakes within one day geographically, which has been not seen in the longest time, obviously, in recorded history. So sometimes in one day, geographically, globally, we will get 50 to 100 earthquakes, which hasn't happened since the previous pole shift. We discussed that. So because of the earthquakes, we also had reports on the coastal, I'm not sure if it was Seattle. I have to get the actual location. I think it was Seattle, Washington, were denoting that they were feeling something underneath the ground that was hot, and they thought it was water rushing underneath their house, and come to find out it was magma. It was magma underneath their houses, because caverns under these super volcanoes, because now Yellowstone is on one part of Yellowstone, it is 300 degrees. They have evacuated the majority of people living in that area. All animals left previous to this. I remember many of us saw the mooses running, the bears running out of the forest. What was this, a year and a half ago? I think you can look that video up. You saw the moose. Was it, yeah, it was moose or was it elk? I'm not sure which animals, but they were running out of the forest. And this was before the temperature has risen. They are not saying anything. We've had multiple quakes registered at the Yellowstone location, whether it's 3.5, 4.0, there are earthquakes happening there. So apparently, according to the intel, remember that, Jessica? Yeah, they were running out of the forest. Animals are very sensitive. They aren't muted by GMO chemicals or Dunkin' Donuts or coffee or other chemicals that, you know, mute their senses, their natural innate senses. So they feel they get the preamp to leave and bounce before something pops off. Unlike humans who have been indoctrinated, vaccinated, got holographic planets all over the sky. You know, we got a lot of things going on that are causing us to disallowing us from actually seeing things for what they are if we aren't self-aware. Okay, so we have that going on. Then we go to the West Coast and we have massive shootings. First, we had the Garlic Fest. Now, I just got from our homegirl that I didn't realize in Pittsburgh last month, but I don't think this is related to the mass shooting, but it's just, you know, unnatural phenomenon with someone shooting up a Pittsburgh Walmart and killing people, and it was supposedly due to a fight. But we have a multitude now of mass shootings, which I personally, it is my opinion, has to do with the maturing. It's almost like the maturing candidates, all the cell phones that everyone's using that keep on their body. They have AI infiltration with all of the basic chips that people have from all the chemtrails coming down on your skin, with the nanofibers going underneath the surface of your skin, being replicated by the phones through your blue lights on your phone. That's why I tell you to cover the blue lights, get blue light shields on your phone, replicating underneath your skin, and then creating nanotubes that eventually create enough nanotechnology inside of you to take over a whole human being. Now, if you think that Fluburn has lost her mind, you can basically look up basic, insect and other types of parasitic takeovers, and I always tell you to look up the zombie snail because it's the best testament of what happens when some other being or entity takes over your body, including AI, via the technology that is raining down on your skin every day. Okay, you look at the zombie scale. It's a video. It's very, very intriguing. I'm based in science. I was a researcher for many years. It's actually good for the little ones to see it. If you watch it, you see how a little parasite gets inside of a snail, and the snail starts looking loopy and no longer is in control of itself. The actual parasite takes over the synapses of the brain and now controls the snail to make the snail do what it wants it to do. Many of you know this because when you're eating a lot of sugar or sweets, parasites are sentient. Collectively, they're hive-minded, and if enough are in your body, they can take over your thoughts and your cravings. That's why many of you crave sugar a lot. If you have a lot of worms or parasites, they basically create a need, a necessity that is being telepathically communicated through your body, and then you end up eating, Dunkin' Donuts like 6 o'clock at night. I'm saying Dunkin' Donuts because I had somebody I know who was going on a Dunkin' Donuts rage when they were smoking marijuana. Pick up and tell all the chiefers in the house. Okay, so we have zombie flies around you. It's a circus. Let me check on in. Let's play some more music for everybody checking in. I'm going to continue. Go ahead. We have some music for y'all. This is what's going on right now. Welcome. Please put a like on the video if you like the content and the music. Smoke and mirrors. I'm bringing the smoke. We got a little mirroring effect behind us. It's a circus out here, family. everyone. If you're just joining us today, we're talking about the Smoke and Mirrors Matrix Smoke and Mirrors Program 101. If you don't know, now you know. Also with the agendas being totally thrown out there to throw people off. Some are natural, some are supernatural, some are just, you know, obviously HARP engineers, sonic weaponry being geared toward the United States to weaken our grid, which is working. So if if Russians, you're doing it, it's working. And because United States are very smart, they're just publicly telling you that you're compromising our grid and it's working. Go figure. So we have that going on. Now we have mass shootings happening. First at the Garlic Fest, then we had a mass shooting almost the next day, or what was it, a couple days later in Walmart. Now, what's interesting about this family and how we know it's most likely, whether people passed away or not. Now, let me state this. I am sorry, and I am very, very sympathetic. And I send so much love and peace to families that were affected by any false flags that your country under the matrix system is personally engineering to make your lives a living heck and to create a fear in you so that you give up your weapons right before September. So if you didn't know, we personally think we won't know until September that something's about to pop off in September. It's very interesting that they're putting back to back events right on the precipice of something that may go down in September based on Virgo season, based on predictions that we did, and also some intelligence that are talking about a bigger event is coming. So it's kind of in sync that all of a sudden you're putting these Manchurian candidates that have been triggered by the AI and all of the nanotech that's in half of these empty seeders' brains. Because if you keep doing drugs, if you keep drinking alcohol, if you keep hanging out with low dimensional beings, if you keep having depraved sex or becoming a polygamist, I had to throw the polygamist under the bus. Big up to all the polygamists who really think you about that life. Anyway, you keep doing these things, you too can be a Manchurian candidate, and you may be stepping into a vortex of the closing of your eyes, and may wake up one day in cell block 3666 because you did something crazy, because you were susceptible to infiltration based on your low field behavior and you having all kinds of nanotechnology in you that triggered you to do something that normally you wouldn't do. So all this to say, they're trying to take your right to bear arms, family. Now, you know, I haven't been a fan. I appreciate Yoga Tom, because, you know, Yoga Tom is probably listening to this right now. Yoga Tom likes to do his yoga. He doesn't believe in violence against humanity. He will only sit in stillness, and he eats fruits all day. But I told you, Mama Apocalypse is at the door. And when he opens the door to Mama Apocalypse, he's done. He's not equipped to protect himself because all he does is meditate and eat fruit. He hasn't prepared himself for the basic necessary preparation that we are all going to have that we're required to have during a time where you need to be balanced. It's okay to be peaceful. It's okay to be a fruitarian. It's okay to be calm and collected, but you better have your other half, your other shadow, ready to pop it off or protect your family when these mofos come to your door, Mama Apocalypse. And I'll say Mama Apocalypse because, you know, Mother Tiamat is on upgrade, and she is going to disseminate this system to get rid of those that are not in sync with her. So I hope, Yoga Tom, you take this message not in angst. We love you, Yoga Tom. You make the best fruit smoothies in the world. I love sitting and sun gazing with you, but you're gonna have to ante up. You better get ready, because when Mama Apocalypse comes and she got skulls all over her neck, she's looking like something out of, you know, American Horror Story. She's coming to your door. All that meditating and all that fruit smoothies and all the sitting down without being proper. And all I'm saying, I'm joking. I'm making light of everything. You know how I'm very dramatical. I made that up. I don't believe it's dramatical. I don't believe there's a word. Some of you think I actually take these words like they actually exist. I make up words. I'm a New Yorker and I'm a woman of color. We make up words. We create languages out of languages. So, grammatical is not a real world. I do understand that. I'm quite educated. I love to make up new words in my own special mind. But anyway, I'm just saying, we have to be very mindful that there is smoke and mirror system, a smoke and mirror agenda here meant to make you fear what's going on and to happily let them sign a bill right before anything goes off in September or October or December. It's on and popping. The pole shift is upon us. You know how and it isn't anything to fear, but it is something that you should be prepared and acknowledge that is most likely going to occur based on the natural evolution of the planet and what she does roughly every 3,600 years. Okay? So if you think this is, again, a little batty and you think I've lost my sensory, or my senses rather, why don't you look up a little basic history of our planet and you will see she does this beautifully. And I understand why she does this, because she naturally shakes off all the fleas off of her planet when she goes through a shift. Also, we have another planet coming in, planet Nibiru, Planet X. Some of you call it the Anunnaki brown dwarf star, which is causing a heavier gravitational pull. Big up to all the fasters in the house. Listen, I got cherries. Look, I got cherries of mass destruction, no mass consumption. Wait, cherries of mass consumption. Look at my cherries. Don't be envious of my cherries. I'd share them with every one of you if you were here. I share. Just so happens that you guys are on screen. I can't share. I'll energetically share my cherries with you. But I'm just saying, I'm prepared for, because cherry season's going out anyway. So all this to say is that they are prepping for you and creating smoke screens and false flags in order to create an environment, a narrative that will put so much fear in people about guns that they will make a bill magically appear, which they probably already have signed, just waiting for the populace to keep putting false flags until you just let them, just basically give your life to their hands and let them sign the dotted line in blood. Okay, so once you do that, you will allow them to take your arms away. Now, family, this is the one thing you will know with me. I agree that I agree and I support living in a country which allows for us to bear arms to protect ourselves. Why? Is I've traveled to other countries, including Brazil and Europe, where you got crazies out there with arms. They have guns, and the people who want to protect themselves don't. I don't believe guns kill people. I think people kill people. I think a sick mofo is the person. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Guava Berry Moon says, I keep getting breaking news on my YouTube feed despite me saying no to it. And Mr. Softy stopped right in front of my house today, which never happens. Listen, there's a lot of things going on. And as long as you pay attention, you will be fine. You have to be heightened in self-awareness. Once you're heightened in self-awareness, there isn't anything that can really phase you, okay? But if you aren't yes, it's harvest time. That's right. Thank you, Warrior. A reminder, Warrior Empire just reminded us, it's harvest time in September. Big up to those. Oh, well, let me make it breaking news. Okay. My conference is going to happen. From October. I know this is in between all the angst, right? My conference is going to happen in New Orleans in the Bayou. I told you I was going to do it. It will be we're having a beautiful masquerade on the 31st. So I'm having a beautiful 17th century masquerade. Fleur is Creole. I had to do Halloween in the Bayou. So I'm having a masquerade for the conference, for the kickoff of the conference, and November 2nd actually will be the conference day. So I will be in New Orleans kicking off a Fleur Experiencer event from October 31st to November the 2nd in New Orleans in the Bayou as we picked out. So I won't have all the information until I will put out the flyers and everything. It's going to be an amazing experience. And I have one amazing person already. It's going to be the sisterhood on fire in the yard. It's going to be bayoued up. So I'll have everything cipher-wide shut. Y'all off the hook. So I just want to put that out. It took me a while. I got back from Brazil. I finally got the beautiful place It is amazing. It's on the Bayou. It will be from, again, October 31st to November 2nd. I will put out all the information for everyone. As far as that, I will definitely have to cap it, because when you find out who's going to be there, I think it's going to be, no, I know everyone's going to want to go. So I'll put that out, like the flyer. You know, I'm not good at that. So I'll put out the flyer in like 2 weeks and have everything organized. So I just want to put that out there. So anyway, let's get some news. So Lewis says all shootings been reported in MSM, Garlic Fest, Gilroy, California, El Paso, Daytona, Bellbrook, Ohio, Tampa, Florida, Chicago, and Illinois. Thank you. Thank you for that. So listen. No, it isn't Alexis Taylor. Alexis Taylor is not going. Listen, everyone. This is an amazing time that you're witnessing. You're seeing how desperate. See, this is the beauty, because you know how we always talk about, people always put the fear in there, right? But you know the beauty? For them to go this far and for them to have this many shootings, that means they're desperate. That means they're desperate for you to be complicit in their agenda. Make sure you hold strong and you disallow these beings in the matrix from trying to take this to create what they really want, is to take the arms out of your hands. Not everyone has arms, but I do appreciate living in a country that has that right. Europe, parts of Africa, and Brazil, and certain places in Central America, people are not, the public citizens of their country are disallowed from owning any sort of arms to protect themselves. If in fact, let's just say, playing the devil's advocate, if in fact something pops off in September, like we almost know something will, wouldn't it make sense that they would do something like this to create a fearful narrative in order to allow for the public to become so enraged, so fearful, so almost like compelled to allow the lobbyists to create laws that would disallow the normal Joe from owning guns. Now, let me just state this. Like I said before, guns don't kill people. Guns aren't killing people. It's people killing people. And the majority of people who own arms aren't psychologically sick. The majority of people who have actually weapons in their homes actually are responsible citizens who have shown a certain amount of maturity and integrity when doing so. When you get a few quote unquote bad apples, that isn't a general consensus of the majority of people who own arms. If I've looked at the statistics, and the majority of people, if you look at the ratio, it's like 0.1% versus 99% that are responsible with their firearms. And some states require you to actually take classes in order to be able to use it properly. So this is all to say, they are trying to take away the basic part of, well, you know, the Constitution isn't even running. We've been running under martial law from I think it was post-Civil War. I don't even think the Constitution is standing anymore, but that's just another conversation. So this is what's going on now. So now we have California, all the West Coast, I forgot, also Florida's in there too, with the mass shootings, creating this ambiance of madness. We're on a precipice of something we can't even, we just kind of are guessing at what may be coming. Like I told, big up to the Cypher crew and big up to my IG family. I already told everyone, I got some intel, and I'm not sure. These are military people, so I always take them a little more. Especially this type of intel. I usually take their information a little more seriously, especially if it's something that I know that they're good and they know about and they have inside scoops about. So one thing they said is that prior to post-September, U.S. citizens who aren't holding a standing and up-to-date passport may not be able to get a passport after that because of martial law taking on after an incident. So those who have passports may be given safe havens in some of the neighboring countries, which they're already making agreements, and they already have some agreements right now in some of the countries saying that they'll take us in case of a major event. So all I'm saying to you, family, is if you aren't having a standard passport or your passport's about to expire in 2020, especially for those who are close to the expiration date, it's my opinion, and it is my what do you call it? I recommend that you go and get your passports renewed, or you get your passports, period. Because if it pops, you already know Florboon's moving to Brazil for most of the year. I told you what I'm doing. So I'm just saying that's not as far. You don't have to go as far as that. But there are neighboring countries like Canada. There's places in Central America. There's places actually some of the Caribbean that would take some of the people in case something happens. So if it's expired, this is I recommend this. I'm not trying. I get intel. We don't know if it's true until we see it actually come to pass. But yes, you'll be in South Africa. I'm just saying, yes, South Africa is actually doing well right now. Just big up to South Africa. Speak to a lot of our sea stars and sun stars here. It's getting a little waverly, but it's for the cleanup crew. They're cleaning up over there. The baby needs passports. Remember, for mommies who have babies, this is more of a mommy abuela. Babies, daddies have to have consent. So be sweet. Put a little sweet tea on the daddies right now. Listen, put a little sweet tea on the daddy right now so he signs, because some of you, if you go to the passport, if you're not accompanied by your husband, remember, it's a big deal. For me as a mother, I know this already because I travel a lot. But for any of you who have daddies that are not in the mix or giving you a tough time, give him a little sweet tea, at least for a week or two, and make him sign. And all you do is he have to sign saying, I agree to my child traveling, my child, date of birth, his date of birth, a copy of his license, but front and back. He may not give it to you, especially if you've been targeting, threatening him for not doing what he's doing, but put a little sweet tea on him, allow him to get your child's passport, and then you can proceed to block him if he's not acting according to righteousness and healthiness, okay? So I always say it's much more important for you to take care of all your things that are healthy for you and the babies, as opposed to holding these awful grudges or so on. Because, in times of tragedy and trauma, you'd be surprised how people come together. So, sometimes people have issues previous, but when you see, previous to anything bad happening, but when something traumatic happens or something environmentally happens, you'd be surprised. People collectively come together, and even couples that haven't been together for a long period of time. So big up to all those. So just mommies, if you are, because I talk to a lot of mommies who are just the ones taking care of the babies, I always give you the heads up because I'm a mommy like that. So you get the ex or the boyfriend or the husband, and sometimes husbands are at work, and most mommies, we do everything at the office. Same likewise for the fathers who have custody of their children, have the mommies, give her a little sweet tea. She may sass you a little bit just to give you a little venom, but it may be okay to take a little bit of that poison just so that you can have the healthy ability to be able to travel in case something emergency happens. Okay, so we have Smoke and Mirrors family. Right now, they have the whole show, and it is a circus out here, and we have to be vigilant and disallow from engaging anything. Remember, we talk about your attention pulls you in, and also big up to the crew who was talking about the red car phenomenon. I didn't believe it. And I will say, I think IG, you guys on IG told me about this. We're going to bring this to the consensus of, for all those people coming in, I'm grateful you come in. I see 358 people in the room. I just asked you put a like on the video. So YouTube allows for content to keep coming. So when you come in the door, please do that. Just allows for me to keep coming on here cohesively. Because for some reason, my channel, they're just watching and they want to know that people actually like what I'm bringing. Because I think I'm considered like, some sort of anomaly on YouTube. So what was I saying? So for what was I just saying? I hate when I go on tangents because I just forgot what I was saying. The red car phenomenon. For those who brought that up, it is absolutely true. Now, I didn't believe it was true because I believe if you suggest something to someone, sometimes, yes, a red car, are you guys seeing it too? I think you suggest something to someone and then you start seeing it. So I had to take, you know, I have a very scientific mind. So I know influence is everything. So what I did is I knew that this was a phenomenon. So I asked a few of my friends who were outside of my perimeter of my network. And I asked them, I said, what color cars are you seeing a lot more lately that you hadn't noticed before? And every single friend told me, I didn't say a red car to them because I didn't ask them about it. I didn't say red car. I said, what kind of cars are you seeing more colors of that you didn't notice before? Every single one of them said a red car. They've never seen so many red cars in their life. That means something. They may have shifted. They may have done a shift with us. There may be some holographic technology they're using on us, because that is odd. I haven't seen that many red cars myself. I didn't believe it, family. Big up to my IG crew. They told me, they said, have you been seeing a lot of red cars? I said, I wasn't noticing, but when I went to look, I noticed a lot more than I've ever noticed. But because of influence, I had to make sure, as a scientist, using my scientific senses, to bring it to people who were outside of our network, and they brought me the color of the car, and they didn't know about it. So I don't know if you guys are noticing a height nowhere. You've been seeing more white cars. It depends on, maybe just check it out. Just see if you guys are seeing it. It's hard to see, and ask people what color cars they're seeing, because I just said it to you and you might start seeing it. You've been starting to see red cars. There's a lot of red cars. It's very odd. And because I saw that, it makes me think they're doing something holographically, or there's a glitch somewhere in the Matrix. Remember? Because if you notice in the Matrix movie, what did Neo see when he was walking with Morpheus, when he was walking them through a program? He was walking through New York City, right, with Morpheus in a program, a computer simulated program that he was doing from the ship outside of the Matrix. And what did he see? He saw a woman in a red dress. He said, what did you see? Woman in a red dress. When he turned, it was a smith with a gun to him, right? So that means something. Whenever you see red like that, and you're starting to see a lot of it, it could be a glitch in the Matrix giving us a warning. The woman in the red dress, it could be a warning. So I'm thinking that the red cars could be a glitch showing a warning that something is about to pop off. That's what I'm thinking. So that's something to take note of, that when we start to see a glitch like that showing up massively, many different types of people from different areas, we got to take that seriously. And also, on another note, for those who are fasting, I found out a phenomenon why many of our feet were hurting. And it's going to sound really crazy, but you know, Flurburn for a long time, when there's smoke, there's fire. And literally, I'm all fire. Now, what I noticed, family, is when we went on the fast, for those who are still on the fast, remember, you still have your fast until Tuesday. We're just doing high fruit fast. That's all the fruit from the high trees with the highest amount of nutrients and the highest amount of energy coming from the sun. Some similar to Sun Simulator 21,000, whatever, but you're still getting the high fruit, and also lots of water. So for all those whose feet have been hurting, I found out a phenomenon that's interesting, and it ties into my thoughts about us being Mer family. And I have to tie this to certain blood types too. I haven't done that yet because I can't really do it. It's too much research, and I have a lot to do, and I have a conference coming up, so I have to focus a little bit. You know, I'll obsess with things. But I found out something was interesting, family, that gives me a further confirmation that we might, I told you, I personally notice I didn't say believe, I personally know that O positives or positive roots. Now, this doesn't mean negatives don't have this quality. It just means I notice it with positives more, that they're connected to marine life, because we have more of a connection, even though they have lied to you and told you that O positive roots is connected to the rhesus monkey, which is a lie. It is a lie, and it is a blazing lie to deter you from actually realizing who you're connected to. The rhesus monkey, there's a lot of primates that have similar qualities, not just the rhesus monkey. The rhesus monkey has a very particular kind of enzyme that they're connecting, but many of the aquatic life has more in common with positive roots than any rhesus monkey. Believe me, you. Okay, so I found something interesting, family, about the feet phenomenon. So remember I told you my feet were hurting? I was like, and also feet are connected to Pisces. Big up to our sea star and sun star. So we're talking about the connection to feet and Pisces, because remember, feet have to do with foundation. And as we did a general poll on this page here, we noticed that everyone from different areas, they could be from England, they could be from South Africa, from Jerusalem, from Australia, from Kenya, from the Caribbean, from the northern part of the United States, from South America, so many people, including my homies in Bali, were having feet and knee issues. Now, I equated it to the pole shift and the gravitational pull being heavier. And I also, this is my own theory. It's not been vetted out. It's my theory from what I know. I know back when there was a previous pole shift, the majority of people, remember, the marine family, which are considered to be what the nomos, remember the nomos are in Africa, they talked about their aquatic family, the mer family, mer, okay, not mer, M-E-R, M-U-U-R-S, because they're from Sirius. The mer family was connected to the nomos, which were aquatic or like frog-like beings, right? The little pygmy we're talking about, the nomos, the connection to the nomos, right? Which are like frog-like amphibious type of beings, okay? So when we discuss that, we also have to connect the fact that our feet are connected to our foundation. Pisces is in charge of that. So it's interesting that we're leaving the age of Pisces and entering into the age of Aquarius, which is the ladle pouring water. It's interesting that the fish was the last one, which has to do with belief, which is belief, which is belie. That's why you shouldn't use the word belief. See, this is the bastardly English language that is created to create spells, because if you keep using the word believe, it means you belie. You're belying, okay? So be careful with that. So I found out a connection to why our feet were hurting. Our foundation family is being rocked. And also, people who have actual kin, I was going back to the actual Africans were saying that they were cousins to the water people. During the last cataclysm, they were saying that we existed in water, that we became evolved once the pole shift happened and the waters receded. So we started to go on land when there was less of a gravitational pull and we weren't so heavy. Now we have a reverting back to Waterworld, which water is going to be taking over during the next pole shift. It'll be mostly water. That's why all the caps are melting. It's part of the pole shift. Majority of the land will be water again. We are starting to feel a heaviness with the gravitational pull. For the same reason we came out of the waterways and migrated and evolved, those of us who are connected to the elemental families of the mermaids or the marine life. That's why the African churches and Christian churches are trying to do an exorcism on people in the marine family. It's all interconnected. They're trying now, because of the gravitational pull, our feet are heavy because our feet are starting to remember that we weren't always on land. We are supposed to go into the waterways. Now, if this feed drops, I'm gonna try to save this video because last time I did this on IG, they deleted the whole IG. They deleted everything. We're getting heavy again because the gravitational pull is heavy. We weren't supposed to be on land, many of us. So those who are experiencing a lot of leg and feet problems, I'm personally thinking you're connected to the mer family. You have a lot of that genetic quality in you with the fish, okay? So the fact of the matter is, we're starting to get heavy again. But also, there's another thing, family, that I noticed that I wouldn't have noticed had I not done this. So I was saying my feet were hurting. We're doing the fast. So I decided to do a lot more oxygen water. Does anyone have a fish tank in their house? If you have a fish tank in your house, what is the number one thing that's required to allow your fish to have a healthy homeostasis? You put bubbles in your fish tank. You have a motor that puts oxygen in your fish tank. Guess what? As soon as I started to drink tons of this oxygen water, you know what happened, family? My feet stopped hurting. Listen to me, family. You know, I'm on site and I'm real. I'm drug-free. Asked my friends last night who were hanging out, I do 0 drugs. I started to drink oxygen water. and my feet and my body felt better. Family, I have a feeling we're going back to some of our aquatic state of being. Now, I'm vetting, it's just a theory at this point, but I know for a fact as a researcher, and if we have any of our clinic, you know, a lot of times I love when our clinicians are on here. Please, for those who are in the research, please come on here. I love when you add your you know, it's also, you know, I come from a scientific background, and I love when other scientists and other clinicians come on, because it helps to back up you know, back up my personal thoughts on things. I really love your opinion. Sometimes you're very quiet. See, what you'll notice about scientists, they're very quiet, but they take notes. Only when I talk non-truth will they mention something. I know I'm onto something because they're quiet. There's quietness usually details that they're in agreement. But remember, many of them are working and getting, you know, have grants, working in laboratories with grants, and they're not allowed to talk on social media or to get themselves involved in that. That's why you won't see them very often. But I ask our clinicians, if you don't mind just emailing me, seeing if you are in consensus of what I'm saying, I would really appreciate it. It just helps because I know that you're quiet because it's all real. Because if it wasn't, many of you would be barking at me, so like sometimes in the past. So I really appreciate if you can email me and just let me know if I'm on, because I feel like, again, most Rus positive are connected to marine life. We have more in sync with some fish than we do with primates. Okay, that's why it's disgusting that they always say that. And some of you vegans have to stop saying that apes eat greens, and that's why people eat greens. If you don't want people calling you primates, stop connecting yourself to primates. By the very nature of you using that for a vegan point, you're putting yourself in direct a line of fire from people who think you're a primate. Okay, majority of people are not connected to primates unless you have hair all over your body. The only people who are connected to primates, the evolutionary process goes like this. If you're more connected to primates and closer in genetics, you're going to have hair all over your body. So if you see places like in India and so on where people have a lot of hair in their body, that's more, they have more gene pools. Their gene is more connected to primates or to the what is it called? Like like a Neanderthal kind of being. Okay. So if you don't have a lot of hair on your body, that means you're more connected to more of the aquatics or lizards. Okay. Reptilians. Okay, so please, for those, I know vegans get very defensive when you talk about this, but stop connecting yourself to elephants and comparing yourself to elephants and apes, because you're giving people line of fire to disrespect you and to call you a primate. The majority of people who are hairless, doesn't matter if they have certain features, because monkeys look like all beings, all human. They have humanoid features because they're very close in lineage. Yes, they are, but they're not necessarily always connected. There are a lot of other things that are connected to people and look very similar in feature-wise. Okay, so I just say that because I think a lot of times that's something that I hear often, and it's disrespectful to yourself to connect yourself to an animal and a primate. And again, unless you have a lot of hair all over your body, you aren't connected to the primates, okay? Primates, if you're connected to primates, you still would have hair all over your body like they do, because it's a necessity for them to be protected from the sun, because they don't have a certain amount of sunscreen. So their skin has to be protected from the sun, okay, because of that. All right, that's just, you know. So oxygen, let me go back to that. Oxygen. I've been drinking this every day since, remember before the fast, I was saying my feet. Family, Houston, we have some truth here. We are connected to the aquatics. I'm drinking water and oxygen, not to say that it's only that. Yes, getting oxygen in your water allows for better circulation, allows your blood to get more oxygen inside of it, that allows it to flow better, and I also express that in your cells. I get that. But it's interesting that my feet stopped hurting as soon as I started to consume this more, almost like I was going into aquatic state. Now, if we start growing gills, I don't know if you watch any of the mermaid. Now, if many of you are starting to get neck issues, now this is a phenomenon. I don't know if this is true. I haven't seen it yet, but if you start getting gills or having breathing issues and feeling your neck a certain way, that's going to be some evolutionary product that I haven't heard about. I don't think it's going to happen, but that would be really, really interesting to see if people start getting, you know, breathing gills. There was a movie like that. I don't think that would be something that could happen, but neck issues could be that. And also thyroid issues could be connected to that aspect of being trying to metamorphosize back into aquatics. So, you know, you never know how the process of how the aquatics, because remember, whales, pilot whales, dolphins require water. They require air, family, because people always say, oh, well, you know, how could you say we're related to, you know, fish? Or I'm not talking about all fish, but the ones that are mammals in water that require air. Remember when I said I went to, you know, I went to Edgar Casey's facility, and I don't channel, and I didn't know that the dolphins had migrated, and I was having telecommunications. They were telepathically utilizing my body, and my head was opening like this. My crown was opening, and come to find out that it was opening like a portal, like a breathing hole, and I hadn't any idea. So that was a connection to the sea beings, because they require to breathe. They can stay underwater for long periods of time, but they need air too. That's the only way we could have migrated on the surface, because we had to have a dual system. That's what makes them mammals in the water. So if any, you know, I always look for, I know people are like, oh Lord, Flurbrun's gone too far. Flurbrun's saying we're fish and we're gonna go back. Listen, I made the video how many years ago? You guys laughed at me when I was in my bikini in my pool, and I said we gonna have to make right with water. We're going back to Waterworld. Don't watch that movie because it'll make you very, it's a sketchy movie, but it's a good movie. We're going back to water. We're going back into into a state where we're going to have to be right in that way, because the majority of the surface of the planet is going to be water. That I don't even have to guess. That I know. So, you know, I'm just saying, as soon as I started drinking this, I felt better. Almost like my body wasn't getting enough oxygen. Yes, I'm a thickums, but I'm actually going back to my natural size. Like I'm not, you know, I'm actually going back to my natural size. I'm usually a thicker girl. I'm generally wear like medium to large. You know, you guys will see me at the conference. You only see the top of me, so I look like a big busty. I look like I don't know what I look like. But, you know, I just look, you know, a little voluptuous. I'm a normal size person. So what you mean is I'm a little thicker, but obviously I go down to like an average size. But part of what I noticed is that when I started to drink the oxygen water, my body felt better. I actually felt more centered and balanced, because there were times I would walk, I'd be like, what the heck is going on with the planet? Like I would feel like my equilibrium was off. You ever feel like that? Like you're walking, you're like, why am I stumbling? Like the planet's going sideways. You ever walk and you're like, oh snap, like what the heck is that? So that I think was connected to the imbalance of waters inside of us. And when I added a little oxygen, so family, I'm not supporting just buying oxygen water all the time. I'm also thinking, I'm going to see if I can get an oxidation machine, because there's a way you can oxidize your water just like we do the fish tank. So I got to figure, if somebody knows, some of you have this. Hold on. Somebody on here, it was a couple of you, who has the oxygen machine? Does anyone on here have the oxygen machine, the oxidizing water machine? Somebody on here had it. Like, I don't know, years ago we were talking about it. I can't remember. A lot of you have been with me for years. So yeah, it's like an oxidizing, just like you get you know, you can get a machine that alkalizes your water. But does someone have it? Oh, here we go. The ozone generator. Okay, Crystalline, do you have that? We have to find out if some of you have it. How do you like it? Daytona, where the mass shooting was. Your cousin's children lost their mother. Oh my gosh, due to what was going on and not going with the energy prayers to her. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Family, we have someone on here whose cousin, who in Ohio, Dayton, Ohio, where there's a mass shooting and her cousin's children lost their mother. Please send energy, everyone. Please send energy to that family. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm very sorry for the babies. Sending love and nourishment and not the babies, you know, it's hard. So like I said, even with the false flags, I always say, with the false flags family, I always say this. It isn't fake as far as a lot of times the deaths. Sometimes it is like Sandy Hook, you get some of those sometimes. But we have to take in consideration they're willing to risk people's lives to do false flags. The agenda might be there, but people do lose their lives in these events. I'm so sorry for the babies. I'm sorry for the family. I'm sorry you lost your family member as well. So condolences and much love. And we're sending lots of energy. This group is so beautiful in that way. So we're sending that to you. Okay, hydrogen peroxide. I know hydrogen because I have, back to the conversation, I have hydrogen peroxide, the food grade in the house. You know, I'm a prepper, so I always have it, you know, anything pops off in the bug out bags. You know, your bug out bag should have the hydrogen peroxide. It's helpful because it gets rid of, also kills a lot of bacteria in your water. Also it oxidizes it, yes. But I actually would like the machine. So when I get to Brazil, one of the machines that I'm gonna get is the machine that creates water from air. Some of my friends have it here in Cali. So that's another machine I definitely want to get. I'm going to have the refrigerator that creates, I was going to get it here when I was here, but I'm not staying here. So, the machine that actually creates water from condensation, which is phenomenal. So I'm going to get that as well. But the oxygen machine, anyone who has it, I'm going to check it out. So did I just dirty my shirt? Oh, sorry, family. Let me move this over here. Sorry. So what we should do is, I can only test the theory on myself. I just found my feet felt way better and stopped bloating up when I started to consume this. Could just be circulation, but I think it's more than that. I think it's a combination of the heavier gravitational pull due to the fact that we're on the precipice of a huge pole shift that happens on the planet. It isn't something that's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs conversation. It isn't something that's made up or, you know, like an urban myth. It is a fact. The planet does this all the time. You look on Amazon, Kay, please, Kay, tell me if you see anything. I want to get the ratings. We most likely won't get into Amazon. I want a trusted vendor. Someone who does, you know, who actually sells it and has vetted it out. Like Dr. Delbert Blair was big on that. So if you can, just let me know if anyone finds one. There's a super volcano from mid-California away, Wichita. Yes, well, this is the thing about them not talking about the fact that they're not talking about the fact that the super volcano known as, what do you call it? I just talked about it a minute ago. The super volcano in the middle of Wichita in those areas, that it's 300 degrees. It went up to 300 degrees and they didn't talk about it on social media. Also, to go into the false flags of the shootings, I will say this. It is very odd, family, when you have a mass shooting, such as what's going on the West Coast. You haven't seen anybody film anything. When has it been that we don't see social media? We capture everything. It's the same thing with the nightclub here in Orlando. Remember the Orlando shooting? It was a gay club here. It was what was it called? Vibe. It's right. I pass it. I pass it sometimes when I'm going downtown. There's tons of posters. It's very sad. There wasn't any photos. There wasn't anybody shooting it. There wasn't anybody. Everybody has their phone on them. There wasn't anybody filming it. I haven't seen one. The first thing I looked at when I heard this last shooting, it's Walmart, family. It's not like you have people everybody has a cell phone. Where are all the private footage? Pulse, thank you. I pass by Pulse a lot. Where is all the footage? Where is all the people sitting in there filming? Because people film fights all the time. Do you know that, right? There's a channel called World Star where all they do is have fights and diabolical behavior caught on purposefully. Where are all the videos? Where's the footage? One of the only footage you saw is a woman was also a victim of Vegas. Very strange. She might be a crisis actor. Got to be careful when it's a problem. Whenever you see one person resurface into another tragedy, it means they only have a small roster. And they've rehired her as another crisis actor in another, false flag. So be careful. If we see one person in one false flag event, and then we see them in another one, chances are they are crisis actor. They were low on the roster list, and they have to keep rehiring the same actors. Okay, so be careful with that. If you've seen that I would think that the whole thing is fake. But I haven't seen, if anybody has seen footage, I would like to see who has footage of this event, because for such a mass shooting of someone just coming in, because apparently people said, oh, I saw a man walking in, there was somebody walking in, where's the footage? Where's the footage? You tell me there isn't one person on social media that posted the person shooting in the thing? We see mass murders online on some of these sites. So I'm just saying, family, when there's smoke, there's a mirror. And I'm just telling you, it smells like the duck. It looks like a duck. It's a duck. There should be footage in Walmart. Listen, Walmart is one of those places, you know, all the diabolical ones. Walmart, I remember years ago. Wait. I gotta see RFG's video. I haven't watched it yet. I heard it was really good. I haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna watch it. But I'm just saying, family, where's all the videos? If they exist, please send them to me, because I haven't seen any other shots other than NBC, CBS, Fox News, CNBC, CNN. All of them are covering it, and there isn't any footage on independent footage from regular people out of the hundreds of people that are in Walmart. 111 is in the house. Yeah, Walmart is like Las Vegas. There's cameras everywhere. There's people who are doing lives in Walmart. I'm in Orlando, so you know it's like a traveling. There's people doing lives in Walmart. You telling me there's no footage of even hearing the shots, like people on their phones hearing the shots, talking to people? This is what I'm saying, family. I don't know. I wasn't there. I can't presume anything, but what I have is logic and reason. That's a little sketchy. They kept kids in cages. Yeah, I heard another thing. They put them in the cages in the back and locked them up. That could be what, maybe they needed to change the scenery. Maybe they need to put a new scene up, so they had to put them in the back so they can show them the holographic thing going on. Now, I'm not saying people didn't pass away. This is the thing you have to understand, family. You could have somebody go in there and pop people off, and it has nothing to do with an actual person. It may just be something that they want to create in order to create a narrative that's puts fear and then puts an agenda in keeping people from, taking people's right to own arms and utilize their right to own arms. So I'm just saying, so no one in Walmart was on the phone. That's what I'm saying. In 2019. Come on now, really? Oh, yes, thank you for everyone coming in. Please like the video. I appreciate when you like the video. It's it allows for YouTube to put a big happy YouTube smile and say we support our independent creators that come on here, and this is what YouTube was created for. So that'll let them know that this content is acceptable and what most would like to at least hear about. So it's all a distraction, family. So all I have to say is this: the Matrix has a smokescreen agenda 101, which we've been witnessing for the last as long as we've been awake and aware. Stay out of their business, because you want to make sure that you aren't perceiving at the level that they want to pull you into their paradigm of chaos. And I'm just giving advice to Yoga Tom. Yoga Tom, please make sure that you are ponying up and preparing yourself. There's nothing wrong with making fruit smoothies all day, Yoga Tom, and meditating and sun gazing. But Yoga Tom, you need to get up on your ninja style and start doing a little bit of go and take on your right to own a firearm. And also you need to take some Taekwondo and get it on and pop it ninja style, Yoga Tom, because we're going to need you, because when Mother Apocalypse comes to your door, you need to be ponied up, because if you're not, it's going to be a wrap for you. So family, that's as much as a conversation I'm going to have. It's on and popping. What's going to happen, and I just gave you all the intel in the world. Hopefully the video stays up. I never know. If you're here, you meant to hear it. I'm not taking down this video, but I'll tell you sometimes, because on IG, some of the things I brought up on here were removed. I mean, on IG almost immediately, and anybody who was on IG saw and witnessed that it was out of control. So I brought up a lot of things I spoke about on IG, so I just say you're here, share, the intel. We aren't hoarders of information. We don't make people pay for information to save their lives. Capoeira, right? We're gonna do capoeira. Yo, Yoga Tom, you need to get up on it. We can make green smoothies all day. but you just got to make sure you're prepared for, you have to be balanced. It's being balanced, family. It isn't being too extreme in one left and one right. In order to be healthy, and even when we talk in the dynamics of duality, we always talk about purple. Purples are divine, feminine. I use that, the purple. Look at the beautiful purple. The purple is a combination of red and blue. Okay, the very red and blue that they always, have they always have up in division. You know what I mean? You always have the right wing and the left wing. You always have black and white. But when you merge the two, which is beautiful, you get a beautiful color purple. Okay, so I would say I prefer, because remember at the beginning of the stages, I was like, oh, I tried the blue glasses, the blue cobalt glasses, right? I did that for a while to see entities. And then I went to the red. And then what ended up happening is I ended up getting purple. And purple was the perfect balance between the two. And it's the same thing about everything that is going on in life. You need to, your shadows aren't meant to be, rid of or dispersed. They're meant to be incorporated and accepted and checked. There isn't any reason you should be hostile or negative, but there are times in your life you are going to have to stand in your certainty and in your power. And in order to do so, those things that may have traumatized you as a child, those feelings that may challenge you in parts and aspects of your life, those are the very whatever was cultivated from those feelings or those dilemmas in your life created an aspect of you that will protect yourself, that will actually stand up for yourself, that will actually protect others. So by incorporating your shadows and accepting them and knowing it's only appropriate to have the shadow show up in an appropriate way and when you desire, not just coming out of the closet whenever, right? So being absolutely balanced is key. Okay, there isn't any reason to ever negate something that is necessary for you to protect yourself. Okay, so I love it. And just be vigilant. I think we'll probably discuss a little bit. Maybe I'll come on IG a little later. So, and maybe discuss a little more because our IG crew has a lot of like great on-site information, and I'll give you some updates on intel as it comes. But all I say, it doesn't matter what goes on outside of you. It's everything about you. It's how you react to what you're perceiving is the reality outside of yourself. If you're healthy, if you're self-aware, if you always follow your first mind, like Dr. Delbert Blair used to say, you wouldn't be in places where you get harmed. You will always be in a placement of healthiness and protection if you are heightened in self-awareness. Follow your first mind. If something says to you, do not leave the house, or maybe you don't need to go get that cup of coffee, stay in the house and make a cup of coffee at home. If something is saying to your girlfriends or your boyfriend says, let's go to the movies and something, and you just feel like something in your stomach and your gut saying, I don't know if I want to do that. Follow your first mind. It is our sixth sense. It's the one thing they can't take away from you. That's yours. And you have, everybody has it. Some people mute it by doing too much drugs and alcohol or doing depraved behavior. That will mute those things, but your sixth sense is always there. Follow it and disallow the clownery, the circus, the carnival that they're putting out there to permeate into your healthy, happy homeostasis. It's all good in the hood. So long as you accept that, that's what it'll be. All right, family. So I love you. Have a magnificent Saturday evening. Be mindful, be proactive, and most of all, be self-aware. I love you. Have a masterful eve and peace. Peace out. Oh, let me end with circus music, okay? I'll end with circus music, and then we can go out with a bang. Goodbye, everyone. Oh, where's my circus music? It's gone? Uh-oh. I'm sorry, fam. I had circus music. Next time. I love you. Peace.